And this is a little bit of a hardware walkthrough of these two devices. We'll talk more in depth about the software later on. This is sort of a general video about the handsets and how they compare to each other on the surface and how they feel in your hand and how they, the specs, the hardware specs between the two of them. Definitely the top two phones around the world right now. The S3 was released in April or May of this year, and the iPhone just came out in late September. And so if you look at these two phones side by side, biggest difference is obviously the size. S3 has a very commanding 4.8-inch screen. iPhone finally bumped up to a 4-inch screen from their previous 3.5 inches. Same great Retina display on the iPhone that you're used to seeing with the iPhone 4 and iPhone 4S. The 5 has a fantastic screen. Very, very, very nicely done. They basically stretched the screen another half-inch in the vertical aspect, and so they didn't make it any wider, they just made it taller. And so the idea behind that was that the phone still fits comfortably in your hand, and so you can still reach every part of the screen quite easily as you use it. I have actually kind of small hands, and it's still a little bit of a struggle for me to reach that top corner. I can do it, but if you compare that to the S3, which pretty much dwarfs my entire hand, I can barely reach that corner at all. I have to shift the phone around in order to get up there. So two different form factors, two different sort of ergonomic designs between these phones. If you've seen an S3 in the store or around, you know that the screen on this phone is also very good. I don't know if the camera will focus, but the screen resolution on the S3 is fantastic. It's definitely on par with the Retina display. Super high resolution, great colors, great contrast. Samsung did a really nice job with their screen on this phone, and so the screen quality between these two is very similar. I would say that the average person wouldn't notice the difference. I think that in terms of viewing pleasure, if that's a term, the iPhone screen is a bit nicer. I think that the Retina display there's just something about it. It's kind of hard to describe. I don't think it's not a tech spec. It's not something that you can write down. It's just how it looks compared to the Samsung. I think it has a nicer sort of look, and things are sharp and things are just. It's mostly how Apple designs their UI that makes it a little bit nicer. I mean, the S3 screen is great, but just if you look at them side by side, you can kind of see the difference in hand. But moving on from the screen, we'll talk more about the hardware. The phone on the new iPhone is a aluminum back, and so this part here is the mid frame, and the back of the phone is all aluminum. They have a glass or plastic inlay here for the antennas. They've thinned it down from the previous iPhone quite a bit, so that makes it a little bit thinner, significantly lighter than the old iPhone. I mean, if you hold an old 4 or 4S in your hand compared to the 5, you'll notice that it's way lighter. Feels really good, actually. I think they have got a really good weight to sort of size ratio. S3, kind of the same weight, I'd say. I'd say it's very, very close. They might be a couple ounces or a couple grams different, but the Samsung has that plasticky feel to it, and as much as I like this phone, you can tell that it's kind of, I don't know, cheap is not the right word. It doesn't feel cheap. It just feels plasticky. This one has a screen protector on it, but I don't have a case on it. A lot of people put cases on their phones, and so if you have a case on it, it's not going to feel the same. But you hold these two phones, the iPhone feels solid. The aluminum sort of band and the aluminum back, I don't know, it's just got a feel to it. Very smooth. It does have a tendency to slide a bit, so that's kind of a drawback to that design. I mean, the Samsung will slide too, but it has, it's not as, this back is completely flat on the iPhone, so it's going to slide. This has, the raised ridges around the lens and some other things that might not cause it to slide around as much. But they both have center buttons. They both have volume rockers. Volume rockers here, volume rocker there. They both have power buttons. Samsung's is over here. Apple's is over here. Headphone jack on the new iPhone is at the bottom, and they've also got that new Lightning connector, so that's all new. Both have external speakers. Both have cameras on the front and the rear. And again, we're going to get into more detailed reviews of things like the camera and the call quality and sound. This is just an overall review of the phones from the outside, just the hardware. Both have microphones, noise canceling microphones. So, you know, if you're interested in making a decision between these two phones, I have a lot of people ask me which would you choose. You know, just from a sheer design standpoint, the iPhone I think wins. I think that they've done a really nice job with making the screen bigger, making it fit in your hand nicer. You know, that extra half-inch screen is really great. I think that you know, it's a pretty minor upgrade from the other iPhone. I think that if you have a 4S and you're looking to upgrade to a 5, it's probably not worth it. I mean, it depends on how much money you want to spend. You know, if you want to go out and spend full price on a new iPhone just to have the latest and greatest, that's fine. But if you have a 4S, you probably have 95 to 98% of the 5. You're just missing the half-inch screen and a couple of software features. But you know, they're both really good phones. I really, you know, I keep both of these phones around. I switch my SIM cards between the two of them because they're really great, and they both perform really well. So we'll get more into the thorough reviews of the software, camera, call quality in some other videos. So check back on my site, and don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks.